This is breaking, and this is pretty exciting. I am pretty stoked to announce this. You may have been following this on the blogosphere already. So, demanding 2020 Democrats pick a side on climate emergency, Greenpeace climbers shut down the busiest fossil fuel transportation hub in the U.S. This is happening right now. This is happening right now. They've shut it down. All right, so here's the questions they're asking. Will you champion a Green New Deal and ensure a just transition away from fossil fuels, asked the activists of Democratic contenders, or will you side with the corrupt billionaires trying to wreck the planet for their profit? Millions of Americans are waiting on your answer. Millions of Americans are waiting on the answer. I, however, am not waiting on the answer. I have the answer to that question. Here you go. I have the answer to that question. Bernie Sanders, yes. Everybody else, no. There you go. Just spoiler alert. I guess you can open up that thing again now. There's the answer. Right, Lucy? All right. Anyway, so this is happening right now. All right, let's go to the article, see what's happening. Again, this is happening right now in real time. So a bunch of climate activists shut down the busiest fossil fuel transportation hub in the U.S., demanding that Democratic contenders come through on a Green New Deal. That they come clean, if you will, on where they stand for a Green New Deal. All right, so this is a breaking news story. This is straight from the Common Dreams article. Please check back for possible updates. We'll go ahead and refresh it before we move on. So just ahead of the Democratic Party primary debate taking place in Houston this evening, 22 activist climbers from Greenpeace blockaded the Fred Hartman Bridge in Baytown, Texas, just after dawn on Thursday morning. That was this morning. In order to shut it down. They said the largest fossil fuel thoroughfare in the country and demand presidential candidates take a bold stance in favor of a Green New Deal and a rapid renewable energy transition. Underline that rapid part. We need a rapid transition, not an incremental one, not a slow one, a rapid one. We can't wait until Joe Biden 30330 They call it 3030 because that's when he plans on doing something about climate change. Joe Biden's climate change, by the year 3030, some of us will not be driving gasoline-fueled cars. That's his climate plan. He got it approved at a fossil fuel industry dinner that he went to. That's his plan. So, all right, let's see what else is going on here. Well, let's refresh it. Here, let me go ahead and refresh it, see if there's an update. All right, there's not as of right now. Okay, wait, here we go. So here we go. This is over on the Twitter. Happening now. Greenpeace activists are in Houston blocking the largest oil export channel export. I said expert. It's an expert in oil. What I guess technically it is. It's a channel that's an expert in oil. It's an expert in wrecking our environment. When it comes to wrecking our environment, this hub, crushing it. Crushing it. All right, so Greenpeace activists are in Houston blocking the largest oil export channel in the country to confront the oil industry. Join the action with us, RT, to resist Trump in the oil industry, hashtag people versus oil. So go ahead and search that trend. All right, so here's what goes on there. With an average of 700,000 barrels of oil passing through the location, the climbers have blocked every single day. The group say that the industry expansion plans and a major U.S. push to export more fossil fuels in the coming years could increase that amount to 2 million barrels in a matter of years. The demonstrators were streaming live from the bridge in Texas in order to speak to people around the world about why they are blockading the passage beneath the bridge. Good lesson to be learned here, too, by the way. As a side note, Lucy's looking at the door. She's like, the door is interesting. I'm into the door. The head on the door. Cure reference. By the way, I wonder if that's going to be Andrew Yang's surprise tonight. Andrew Yang has some surprise planned. I don't know. I tweeted, I was like, I hope his surprise is he's showing up to the debate in a Cure t-shirt. He's a big Cure fan. That's one thing Andrew Yang and I agree on. We disagree on a lot. We agree on a couple things. Music is one of them. So I hope he shows up to the debate in a Cure t-shirt. I hope that's his plan. But anyway, important lesson to be learned here. This is the biggest transportation oil hub in the country. Where does most of that energy go? Overseas. So whenever somebody throws that age-old argument that, well, we got to do fracking and stuff like that because we got to satisfy our own short-term energy needs. Eventually, we'd like to get off fossil fuels, but in the meantime, we need an all of the above approach. Did you notice that when I started doing the incremental nonsensical argument, Lucy bounced? Did you notice that? As soon as I was just like, so what they say is blah, blah, blah. She's like, I can't even listen to an impression of that. That's how over it I am. I'm out. Lucy just bounced. She said, no, thank you. That's what Lucy did. So anyway, that's what's going on here. All that energy goes overseas. So it's just a big lie, just a big, like when Hillary Clinton told that child who said she was against fracking, and Hillary Clinton said, well, if we ever had an energy crisis, we need to have that stuff here. That's just a straight up lie. It doesn't stay here. It goes overseas. It goes elsewhere. And all it does is pad the pockets of a couple CEOs. That's what it does. So Greenpeace shutting it down, demanding the 2020 candidates make a pledge for a Green New Deal. Let's see here. According to the group, the nearly 24 climbers intend to remain secured in place for 24 hours, preventing the transport of all oil and gas through the channel. Their action is a bold call to leaders to imagine a world beyond fossil fuels and embrace a just transition to renewable energy. I wonder if they'll even mention this tonight. I wonder if this will even be mentioned at the debate tonight. I have a feeling there will be some questions on climate change. Will they make a reference to this protest? I'd say there's about a 30% chance they will, a 70% chance they won't, because the corporate media does not like bringing up protests. They do not like bringing up protests. They do not like bringing up strikes unless they can marginalize those two things. When they can shine a light on Amazon mocking their employees who went on strike and marginalizing the effects of the strike, they'll cover that. When they can highlight any unjust acts, any acts of aggression, they'll do that. When they can highlight anything that makes the group look bad, they'll do that. But as far as actually highlighting a real protest that has effects, like they shut down an oil hub, or the teachers went on strike and got what they wanted, or, the grocery workers threatened to strike and were able to reach a settlement, they don't want to talk about that. You know why? Because strikes are a lot like the common cold in the sense that they're very, very contagious. And protests are also contagious, and they don't want people to know that this is effective. The corporate media is determined to uphold the status quo. Why? Because the people in it, their tax brackets benefit from the status quo. Their paychecks and their tax brackets benefit from the status quo. Their owners benefit from the status quo, so they uphold it. So I have a feeling in the debates later tonight, you're not going to hear about this. You're not going to hear that Greenpeace shut down the largest oil hub in the country, demanding that politicians take a stand on a Green New Deal. Something that, by the way, should be a no-brainer in the supposed left-wing party. The Democrats, the supposed left-wing party in the United States, it's actually a conservative party. We have two right-wing parties in the United States because really we only have one party, and it's the money party. Right, Lucy? Lucy's getting into this. She's like, where are my 5 words? I want my 5 words. So anyway, I have a feeling that they're not going to mention these protests, and I have a feeling at the debates later tonight, you're not going to hear much talk about a Green New Deal other than from Bernie Sanders, who is going to be outnumbered 9-1. Actually, it's more than 9-1 because the media is going to be against him too. He's the only one that will get gotcha questions. I guarantee it. And the media and everyone else on that stage is probably going to be against him. But good for Greenpeace shutting this down. Here, let's see if there's any other. Let's see if there's any other updates before we move on. I'll refresh the page again. But this is happening in real time. This is happening right now. If you're in Houston, hey, go check it out. Oh, and by the way, they did. They echoed that sentiment that this should be a no-brainer. Check this out. Touting the promise of a Green New Deal over the status quo, Leonard said Democratic candidates should recognize it as a no-brainer. Here's what can happen when we finally choose renewable energy over fossil fuels, she said. We can create millions of high-paying union jobs. We can keep our air and water clean and safe, and we can safeguard our climate against catastrophe. We can't afford to screw this up, and we won't let oil executives do that for us. You know, Graham Elwood and myself were just in the Midwest. We were just in the Midwest, Graham Elwood and myself, and we saw tons of windmill, which was good to see. In Minnesota especially, There were a lot of windmills generating wind, and we were just watching it. And Graham said, gee, if one of those breaks, which does happen, it occasionally breaks. So if one of those breaks, is everybody's water contaminated for the foreseeable future? Is there going to be some out-of-control fire going on? Is there going to be? No, they're just going to fix it. Oh, and I bet making those things and maintaining those things equals jobs, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. And they're environmentally sound jobs. Interesting. Interesting. Good for Greenpeace doing that. And they shouldn't even have to do that. In the supposed left-wing party in a country, that should be a no-brainer, that you want to act on climate change and you want to act fast and swift and effectively. And that the time for incrementalism is long gone. We don't have time for that. Literally, we don't have time for it. So good for Greenpeace. And this is happening in real time. This is happening right now. Right now.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your news